Today we're going to talk about smart manufacturing. My name is Conrad Leiva. I'm with iBase-t. You can look at my information in the brochure. We're going to start, before I start drilling down into smart manufacturing, why are businesses so interested in this topic? It's because we've moved from a cost-cutting era to a growth era. And all our companies, our corporations are really focused on growth. So if you look at every survey out there, all the initiatives are now focused on growth. Keeping up with technology, that the technology is moving so fast, we got to keep it up with it, not only in our systems, but in our products. Our products have to be leading edge and embed a lot of new information technology into them. Customer focus, we're changing the customer experience and we want to be more customer centric. In new product introduction, we want to take a lot of new product to market. So those are the top drivers for Gartner. They're not the only ones talking about this. We also have this one from Microsoft, where manufacturers are not just focused on redesigning the operational processes to cut costs and improve efficiencies, but they're also reimagining the customer journey, that customer experience. It's not just about delivering a product and here you go, put it on the shelf, see you later. It's about having a long-term experience with the customer. And that means there's new business models, new ways to take product along with services to market. Okay. The data says that many manufacturers are adopting these new business models. So if your company's not doing, you're going to be left behind. Do you want to, is your competitor going to gain a competitive advantage just by changing the game and changing the marketplace, or is your company going to be the one doing it? These are the drivers really behind this industrial revolution. So those market drivers are causing companies to have strategic initiatives to get those needed results they want. Today, we're going to just talk about Industry 4.0 and smart manufacturing. So what is smart manufacturing? We start with the Internet of Things. You guys, because it's easy to understand this at home, we are seeing a lot of consumer goods and lighting systems and home control systems and your car, things that you can connect to your phone, things that are connected among themselves, sharing information. And this delivers a whole new promise that, I mean, are we going to connect our toaster? Maybe not, but we're going to connect things that are going to make a difference to us, especially in our wallet. Things like they're going to save us energy, security systems. But so you hear a lot about this in the news because it's targeted to consumers, but the reality is that the Internet of Things is happening faster in the factory. This is smart industrial equipment over here, packaging. So consumer wearables, consumer devices is down here. We're getting a lot more adoption of this kind of connectivity into the Internet from factory equipment than from our consumer goods in our home. So, Internet of Things has become the industrial Internet of Things, where we have similar goals that we have for connecting our appliances at home and our infrastructure at home to the infrastructure in the factory. And there's plenty of examples of this, but we want the whole factory connected. And this industrial Internet of Things is the fundamental piece of smart manufacturing and the smart factory, because we need everything connected. We need our whole value chain connected also. But we need to start with connecting our plants. So we know when material is coming in and is ready to be consumed, so we know that things are coming down the line. what's next in the process. And we're driving more and more automation of equipment that knows, it sees the product and can load a different program, a different inspection program. So more and more autonomous. So we see, so the fundamental pieces of smart manufacturing and Industry 4.0 are that industrial Internet of Things and the digital manufacturing, the digital thread that we talked about yesterday. If you missed my presentation yesterday, it's recorded, they're telling me, so that's available too. But these two pieces really build up into smart manufacturing. Now, you'll hear Industry 4.0, smart manufacturing. They're starting, Industry 4.0 is at this level with the smart factory, and they're starting to equate more and more. So I see these two as fundamental pieces, but they're folding into these. In Europe, there seems to be a more favor to Industry 4.0, which started in Germany as a government-sponsored initiative. And that's a label that anticipates the fourth industrial revolution. So that's a little bit like putting the cart before the horse. So I like smart manufacturing, not just because that term is more of a US-centric term, but because even though I do believe that we have all the ingredients for a fourth industrial revolution, we should wait until we actually get it to start calling it that. So, but that's the idea. That a lot of governments, consortia are working together to make it happen and to achieve the productivity goals and that for Industry 4.0 and smart manufacturing. So what are those exactly? So I am chair of the Smart Manufacturing Working Group within MESA International, mesa.org on the web. And we came up with this concise definition for smart manufacturing. I want to make sure to get it right, so I'm going to read it. The intelligent real-time orchestration and optimization of business, physical, and digital processes, all coming together, not just within our factories, but our entire value chain. Okay? So these keywords are very important. Intelligent, these new systems, so these new systems are going to go beyond the passive reporting system of the past. They really collected data, aggregated it, and gave us our KPIs. These new systems are going to be active. They're going to automate routine decisions. So we're going to act on, they need to go beyond just collecting the data. And they need to analyze it and take action on some of it. Now, we're not getting rid of people, but people are now going to be able to focus on the exceptions, on the issues and handling the more complex things. But every day, things that we can automate, intelligence is getting better and better. They can recognize the patterns, and it can do it itself. Orchestrated, because we're going to coordinate the flow of the business processes through resources across the organizations and into that whole value chain, as we said. So this is the next level of connecting things, is to have orchestration among all our resources, so that when this finishes, the next guy is ready. We don't have a lot of idle time in between, a lot of waste. This is very important, and it's the convergence of these three dimensions: the business processes, the physical process of that material and the people working at it and our equipment, and the digital processes that need to follow that product along the factory. It's connecting all of these things that really bring us smart manufacturing and really creates that opportunity for the next level of productivity. And optimize, because now we have all this digital data and all these digital models. We can do simulations, what-if analysis, better than ever before. So we can use mathematical models, and we can truly adjust as we go more frequently, adjust schedules, so we are always optimizing the use of resources. So what do we do? How do we get there? This is where we want to get. Those are the goals. So within Mesa, I encourage everybody to join Mesa. If you don't join, there's a lot of available resources. I'll have a slide at the end. But one of the white papers we put out, we talk about a roadmap. And a roadmap to go from connected things all the way to achieving that business strategy that we talked about at the beginning. It has to be to achieve the business strategy. So it's not just technology for the sake of technology. We want to achieve certain results. If not, it's not smart manufacturing. So this is a great roadmap that talks about the connective technologies that are available and how we can put them together to achieve streamlined processes and an empowered team, and how we can achieve those new business strategies. We laid out a journey that starts, again, with reviewing your business structure, your organizational structure. Are you set up for these new business models? What do you have to do business-wise? Set up some milestones along the way. It's going to be a journey. It's not overnight. It's going to be 10, 20 years, maybe 5 for some, if you're at the leading edge there. There's going to be some new culture. There's a lot more collaboration here. So the old cultures of silos and delivering over the wall and I'm done, that's not going to work. The whole idea of connecting everything is that we can be very collaborative and leverage all these social tools we have. Address the skill gaps, establish partnerships. But today, we're going to focus on the IT infrastructure that we need to put in place. So I only have so much time. What do we have to put in place? What kind of architecture we have to put in place to leverage these connected things, all these smart machines and smart factory things, to achieve that business strategy? We have to evolve the IT infrastructure. What does that look like? Well, it does not look like that siloed architecture that we had before in our factories, where the factory had its own network and its own protocols to connect factory equipment and factory software. And IT over here in the offices and engineering has a whole different set of rules and governing IT. That wall has to go in this new future. We need to connect everything smoothly. So we need to connect our internal departments. We need to connect our resources, peoples, machines, facilities. We need to connect our external customers, our suppliers. And we need to do it for the entire product life cycle, because a lot of the new business models include services. So design, sourcing, making, sustaining, all of those need to be connected. To connect that, we're going to need a complex IT infrastructure, and we're putting the guidelines for that together. But it's going to include platform services, application services, and this is where the meat is going to happen. All these applications that are going to evolve. And some of these are starting to evolve already, and could be things you're trying out. But apps and bots. So we're going to have our little robots that are fully automated tasks. More and more of fully automated tasks. Things that can be automated. But we're going to have apps, because people are still there. But apps that are focuses on specific functions, optimized for them, delivered through the right device, whether it's a huge screen, a tablet, a phone, or smart glasses. What is the right device for the job? That's all part of it. So we're going to do this. That infrastructure, just build it? No, we need to first look at what are we trying to do? What is the process during the life cycle that we want to optimize? All the way from design to purchasing, like we said, for the life cycle. But then start looking at each step along the way and what departments are involved, what resources are involved, internal, external. Because all these lines represent connective tissue that we need. We need to connect information from procurement, from quality management, from here and receiving, right? We need to information from our workforce, from the goods that were delivered. Right? In assembly, what department? So we start looking at our processes in terms of who's involved, what functions are involved, and how they're connected. We start with the business process, not with the technology. We start looking at our processes, and we might determine this is an assembly process, a little segment of an assembly process of an aircraft. And you will notice here a lot of red and yellow in steps that are highly manual. So I have a gauge here for manual to auto, and the more green, it means it's more automatic, more automated. Now, not everything is going to be fully automated at the end, but what kind of connected technology are we using? Is it paper, the printer? Is it a clipboard? What is it that we're using to accomplish that task? So you start laying out some of the steps you can take. You start laying out and looking at your processes. This is one process, the segments, and look for opportunities to focus here. In this one example, I was looking at the assembler that it needs to do a job and needs to look at work instructions and needs to do torque wrench and collect data from the tools. And we designed a new process. We reimagined the process for that. This is just one example, one segment inside of the plant. We need to do that, like I said before, all throughout the value chain. But look for segments and opportunities to go from red to green. So we start looking. In this example, we went from a highly paper-driven process to all the way to smart glass-driven, where through smart glasses and all kinds of technology that we're integrating, that assembler, his whole life changes. All the information he needs is now delivered to him right on the glasses and imposed on top of the product. So here are my work instructions. Where are the tools I need? And then also I'm using connected tools. So when I use that tool, and I can use voice commands to talk to my smart glasses, so I'm hands-free. So I'm really optimizing that step. So this is just one example. And as we take that example, though, we can see what kind of technology do we need to get there. So now we looked at the business process first. Then we look at, okay, to walk that process along the way, what are the apps I need? What are the functions that I need to accomplish this? And to create that app or that bot, what are the services that I'm going to need? Is it data storage? Is it ETL? Is it responsive UI? Is it identity management, security? What is it? When I'm going to perform the job, I'm bringing information from engineering, operations, quality. I'm bringing all this information and departments together as sources, and I'm putting them into instructions on these glasses. And to do that, I might be using some workflow tools, some responsive UI, some industrial IoT, because I'm communicating with the torque wrenches. So you start seeing how this comes together. Now, am I going to throw everything away that I have? No. And you don't have to. So the good news is that a lot of the ERP vendors, MES vendors, PLM vendors are developing apps. And they're putting some of these infrastructures together. So this might not end up as clean in our organizations as we only have one type of workflow tool. We only have one type of charting tools. We only have one identity management. Maybe that's the ideal, but you start thinking that you're going to maybe connect several identity management of several products, but you start trying to reduce your platform pieces. The vendors are starting to make their solutions more flexible, so you can replace pieces of the puzzle, okay? And it's going to be more of, I can get a best-of-breed piece and put it in place, best of breed for my industry, that somebody that knows what I'm doing and is specialized. That's where we want to go. So you're going to see apps coming from the different vendors, but you're also going to have platforms where IT can develop composite apps that really have a leg in one place and in one domain and another. Okay, so here an example. If I'm moving inventory in the plant, is it the manufacturing system that does it, or is it the inventory system that does it? Maybe it's a composite app that talks to both. And it's as one job finishes, the manufacturing system tells the inventory system, I need to move this, and the inventory system picks it up. That's what I'm talking about, composite apps. The connected technology to produce those kind of apps is getting easier, better every day. And what we're doing now is putting the guidelines together, the examples more than anything, of how we can achieve this easily. So you start looking at these projects not as separate silo projects, but as part of a bigger orchestrated effort. So that's that IT infrastructure that we're addressing. I just gave you a little bit of examples there. Mesa.org, all kinds of resources, they're great resources. But start some projects. I'm going to go through some examples real quick, but here's an example. A PLM system, a coordinate measurement machine, and a manufacturing execution system. Integrated. So we start connecting these. These can be silo projects, but they should fold into that bigger business strategy and to accomplish a business goal. But by threading these processes together, connecting them, that model can flow into that system and all the way into the MES system. This is how we're going to inspect it. This is at the end the data we're going to collect for statistical purposes. Then we go and actually run the programs. So during manufacturing, when that step comes, it's time for an inspection step, pick the right program, send it to the inspection machine, and the inspection machine performs the job. And then that data is collected. We're doing statistical process control. We're collecting the data, and as it's collected, we're verifying that all the data is collected in the manufacturing system. So 3 solutions for multiple vendors here connected. That was one project. What does that look like? Well, here's a little bit of a video of what it looks like. We need to machine the product, look at the work instructions, get the product machined. Then we need to go to the inspection step. What does that look like? Well, we have these dimensions that we want to collect, but we sure don't want to collect all those dimensions manually. We're going to use a coordinate measurement machine, and we have identified all the places that we want, and as data is collected in the background now by the machine, we're updating the system. Once all the data is collected, we can do our buy-off, make sure, validate that it's all per specification. Everything connected. So we're validating here the dimensions that engineering specified in their drawings. By the way, there's a whole change management process now that is facilitated by these connected processes. Another project here in the UK, we have an assembly line of electronics. Well, usually we set up a line, and we, for a board, we load all the programs, and we run through it 1,000, 2,000 boards. This is a line where each product going down the line is going to be different. So as orders are placed, we load on the board an identity and a configuration. Each machine, along the way, we have sensors and software that is detecting the board and loading the right program in the machine. Component placement, optical inspection. So that's what the line looks like. This is a multi-vendor solution. So the important thing is that in the future, to make this happen, it has to be multi-vendor. Now, we might now have agreements that we form these little cliques and these little clubs, and we agree that your product is going to support my product. But the next level to make these kind of solutions work is that we have to support open standards. We have to evolve standards so these best-of-breed solutions, the best coordinate machine, the best NC program, the best manufacturing software for my type of production is used. That means that they all have to be able to plug together. So please, I encourage everybody to participate, get involved. And these are just a sampling of some of the groups and consortia that are working all around the world to make this happen, to make the revolution happen, to make smart manufacturing happen. And it's a journey. But many countries are doing this because, why? Because the economy depends on manufacturing, and everybody wants to be the first one there. Okay? Of course, I'm working over here, Mesa International. Some of the standard groups, OEGI, in my industry are very heavy. There's the Industrial Internet Consortium making a lot of progress in data models and how to put things together. So the future of smart manufacturing is exciting. And our shop floors will never be the same. We're not going back to those greasy shop floors where we're just turning wrenches. It's going to be high tech. This is more like Iron Man. This is more like making buddies with our robots. This is the future of manufacturing that we can be proud to point our kids to in the next generation. They're going to be excited about working on these shop floors. Where can you get more resources? At iBase-t.com. We have a great library of white papers and books on some of these topics like smart manufacturing. So please go there. And Mesa.org. I got to do my Mesa plug. Look for this banner, Smart Manufacturing Resources, all in one place, and you'll find a lot of resources. Some resources are for members only, but there is a lot of information available that you don't have to be a member. So please don't be discouraged by that. Go through here and you'll see here, member only, but right under it, a public excerpt of something. So there's a lot of resources that are available, and webcasts and blogs. So we're going to be at booth 309 after this, so please visit us too. And do you have any questions? No questions?
I was curious, what do you think it means for companies that work internationally and have like multiple and use multiple languages for their course of business? What do you think combining separate departments would mean for them if they're operating multiple departments and multiple languages?
So the question is, I have an organization, multiple languages. What does it mean for me to connect people and the processes and cross the language barriers? Well, a great question. Now, there's the obvious answer. There's services like Google Translate that are going to be translating a stream live as it happens and giving you on a footnote here what the different languages are. That technology is almost there. It's around the corner. It's being used a lot. So there's that. But we're going to be, we need to be a lot more visual about things, a lot more visual. So we talked about yesterday about the digital thread and 3D models and leveraging more visual illustrations. I think that's also part of making work instructions, of making processes cross those boundaries of language, because we want things to be more intuitive. So rely more on flow diagrams, on illustrations. I think a lot of that's going to happen. So, and I think that future workforce for those type of organizations have to also learn more languages. I think that's also part of what's going to happen. Is your organization doing some things right now to address this?
Not at the moment. Do you think it might mean a switch from language-based communication to symbol-based, where
Symbols.
yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. More symbols, yes, definitely. Definitely. We know that we use those symbols on the freeways, the highways. These are the new highways, these digital highways. We might need different kinds of caution signs or instructive symbols. Even on my platform architecture. I'm trying to standardize some symbols. So that's very important. Those are great ideas. Thank you for sharing. Another question? How are we doing on time? Okay. We got time for another question? Okay, another question? Over here. No, you seem very inquisitive over here. Like I have some question over here. Correct. Yeah. Okay. So here, the best way to have security is to lock your daughters at home and don't let them out. So, so we created the silos. Were they created for security? I don't think so. I mean, but do they help security? Yeah, obviously, if things are totally separated, and a lot of the old ways that the military does things with, let's create a different network for that. Internal, the military network, this network. We're going to have to get beyond that. So a lot of the work being done is in security. How do we make sure that you're who you are? So identity management, identity verification is going to be big. There's a whole NIST security model that talks about the things we're going to have to do to prevent hacking, but also to react to it quicker. So we're going to have it. So how do you minimize risk, and how do you put the right amount of protection where the risk is higher? You know, so it merits that investment. All those schemes are being considered now, and they're in the works. We have some writing about it in mesa.org. I encourage you to read it, but that's a very important topic. We need to be able to let our daughters and son out of the house, and something might happen to them, but they need to know how to handle themselves out there. Our data, we need to be able to share data with our partners and work close with them across our departments and across our global corporations. We need better ways. And a lot of the ways that the internet ways that were there were not secure to begin with. So that is an issue. So how do we put a layer of security on top and send secure data over unsecured channels through encryption and other ways? But people are working on all these solutions. Yeah, but that's a great topic of concern, issue, and definitely part of the things we need to put in place. Make it happen. Thank you. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to wrap it up. I'll be available here for a while and at booth 309. Visit iBase-t. Thanks for coming today. Thank you.